Hello everyone, welcome to Physics online classes for class 11 students. Let us continue chapter 4 Motion in a Plane. Today we are going to study about applications of relative velocity part 2. In the previous class we studied two applications of relative velocity. So today we can discuss the last application of relative velocity, and that is to cross the river in the shortest time. There are totally three applications of relative velocity for your syllabus. The first application is relative velocity of rain with respect to man. The second application is to cross the river in the shortest path. And the third application is to cross the river in the shortest time. Now let us learn about to cross the river in the shortest time. This is the last application of relative velocity. Yes, here to cross the river in the shortest time, the river velocity should help the boat or the swimmer velocity. See here, to cross the river in the shortest time, here the river is flowing. The velocity of the river helps the swimmer to reach another side of the river in the shortest time. Here then how to swim to cross the river in the shortest time? The answer is the swimmer must swim perpendicular to the direction of flow of river. The swimmer, if he is swimming perpendicular to the direction of the flow of the river, then he can cross the river in the shortest time. Remember, you will get the one more question. To cross the river in the shortest time, how the swimmer can swim or how the boat can move through this river? The answer is the swimmer or the boat, it must swim perpendicular to the direction of flow of river, then he can reach another side of the river in the shortest time. Now you can observe here, we are going to consider river be flowing from left to right. Observe this picture. This is the direction of river. The river is flowing from left to right. Let us imagine the swimmer is at point A, or you can take boat. The swimmer is at one end of the river at point A. To cross this river, he has to swim perpendicularly. If he is swimming perpendicular to the direction of flow of river, then he can reach another side of the river in the shortest time. From A to B, the swimmer has to swim to reach another side in the shortest time. Like we considered velocity of the swimmer or velocity of the boat is V1. He is swimming perpendicularly. Then what is V2? V2 is velocity of the river. River is flowing from left to right. This is the velocity of the river. Then we can easily find resultant velocity, that is V. We know that relative velocity. So here this is for swimmer. He is going to cross the river in the shortest time. Easily we can find the resultant velocity along the line AC. This AC line that gives resultant velocity. So why we have to consider this as resultant velocity? Resultant velocity means velocity of a swimmer with respect to a river. Observe here, when the swimmer is swimming perpendicular to the direction of the river, then because of this flow of the river, he is moving downstream. Instead of point B, the swimmer is going to reach the point C. Because of flow of river. This flow of river carries that swimmer to point C. In the downstream direction, he is moving. This is all because of flow of river. Actually, the swimmer is swimming perpendicularly. But because of river flow, instead of point B, he is going to reach point C. So this is the resultant velocity and it is denoted by V. Then width of the river is D and T is time taken to cross the river. Is it clear? To cross the river in the shortest time, the swimmer must swim perpendicular to the direction of flow of river. If he is swimming perpendicularly, because of river flow, he is going to move in the downstream direction. So it takes less time, shorter time to cross the river. Now we can derive magnitude, direction, shortest time, distance traveled in the downstream direction in this application. Now let us find magnitude of resultant velocity. Magnitude of resultant velocity. Let us find magnitude of resultant velocity. Resultant velocity is v here. So here we can use Pythagoras theorem. V square equal to, we can write v1 square plus v2 square. Observe the diagram. According to Pythagoras theorem, we can write ac square equal to ab square plus bc square, or v square equal to v1 square plus v2 square. We want the value of v. So v equal to, so this equation will become square root of v1 square plus v2 square, and this is magnitude of resultant velocity in the third application. Similarly, we can find direction of resultant velocity. Direction of resultant velocity. See here, the swimmer is swimming perpendicularly, but because of river flow, he is moving in the downstream direction. Instead of AB, he is traveling AC. This is the resultant velocity. We have to find its direction. So here alpha gives angle between V1 and V, AB and AC. AB gives velocity of the swimmer, but where he is actually moving? Along AC. So we can take the angle tan alpha is equal to, this is the suitable trigonometric function, tan alpha equal to opposite side divided by adjacent side. Opposite side is V2, adjacent side is AB, hypotenuse is AC. Now opposite side by adjacent side means that is BC divided by AB. BC value is how much? BC equal to V2 and AB equal to V1. Tan alpha equal to V2 divided by V1, or we can write alpha equal to tangent function we can take on RHS side. It becomes tan inverse of V2 divided by V1. Let us take it as equation number 2. This gives direction of resultant velocity. Magnitude of resultant velocity is V equal to square root of V1 square plus V2 square. Direction of resultant velocity alpha equal to tan inverse of V2 divided by V1. This gives magnitude and direction of resultant velocity. Now we can find shortest time to cross the river. What is the expression for shortest time? Shortest time to cross the river. An expression for shortest time to cross the river. Generally, we know the expression for velocity. What is velocity? Rate of change of displacement. So we can write displacement divided by time. That gives velocity. But we want a time here. So time is equal to, this equation can be written as displacement divided by velocity. Time equal to what? Displacement divided by velocity. What is the displacement of the swimmer here? He is actually moving along AB, but because of river flow, instead of AB, he is swimming along AC. This is the displacement. So we can write AC divided by velocity is V. This is the resultant velocity along displacement AC. AC divided by V. Substitute the values. What is the value of AC? AC means here we can consider Pythagoras theorem. AC square equal to, here I am going to write AC square equal to AB square plus BC square. Or we can write AB is V1 square, BC is V2 square. This gives velocity. But here, instead of that, we can write AC means this is all about displacement. Don't write velocity values here. So instead of V1 and V2, we have to write the distance values. AB is equal to width of the river, D square. V2 means BC value. BC is displacement of the swimmer, that is S square. Observe the diagram. AB equal to D square, BC equal to S. So here in place of AC square, we can write D square plus S square, or AC equal to square root of D square plus S square. Here in place of AC, we can write D square plus S square divided by V. V is resultant velocity. What is the magnitude of resultant velocity? V equal to square root of V1 square plus V2 square. Equation number 1. That we can write here square root of V1 square plus V2 square. Or we can write shortest time T equal to square root of D square plus S square divided by V1 square plus V2 square. This is the expression for shortest time to cross the river. Is it clear? Then the fourth point, distance traveled downstream due to water current. Because of water flow, the distance traveled downstream, that we can calculate here. Distance traveled downstream because of river flow, distance traveled downstream due to water current, that we have to calculate. Distance traveled downstream due to water current. Distance traveled is how much? Yes. Observe here, the swimmer is swimming from A to B, but because of this river flow, water current, so the swimmer reaches point C instead of point B. So distance traveled is B to C. So that is yes. Distance traveled downstream is denoted by S, divided by due to water current. Water current means we can take its depth. So that is D. S divided by D is equal to distance traveled from B to C. Here we can consider velocity of the swimmer from B to C is denoted by V2 divided by D is what? The width of the river. So width of the river is equivalent to V1. Observe here both are parallel. So we can write V1, or simply we can write S equal to, the equation becomes D V2 divided by V1. So this is an expression for distance traveled downstream due to water current. So this is all about the third application of relative velocity, that is to cross the river in shortest time. Remember, we studied totally 3 applications. The first application is relative velocity of rain with respect to man. When a man is simply standing on the ground, he can hold the umbrella in the vertically upward direction to protect from the rain. But when the man is walking on the ground, he has to change the angle of holding the umbrella. That is alpha we calculated. In the second application, to cross the river in the shortest path, the swimmer has to swim in the upstream direction, so that because of river flow, he will come perpendicularly. In the third application, to cross the river in the shortest time, he has to swim perpendicularly, so he will go to downstream in the shortest time because of river flow. Just you can remember all the expressions to solve numerical problems based on relative velocity. So this completes applications of relative velocity. Then now we can study the difference between dot product and cross product. As we have studied the product of two vectors, scalar product and vector product. Scalar product is also called as dot product. Vector product is also called as cross product. So now we can study some differences between dot product and cross product. Yes, we already studied. Let us find the difference between these two multiplication of vectors. The first one, what is a dot product? You can observe the definition we already studied. Dot product of two vectors is defined as the product of magnitude of two vectors and cosine of angle between them. That is, vector A dot vector B is equal to AB cos theta. This is dot product. We already studied in detail in the previous classes that you can remember. Just it is the definition. Similarly, cross product of two vectors is defined as a vector whose magnitude is equal to product of magnitude of two vectors and sine of angle between them. That is, vector A cross vector B equal to AB sine theta. This is the definition of dot and cross product. Come to the second difference. Dot product of two vectors gives a scalar quantity. When we multiplied two vectors, if the result is a scalar quantity, then we can call it as dot product. Example, work is given by force into displacement, that is F dot S. This is the example for dot product. When we multiply force and displacement, so the result we can get work, and this is having only magnitude, no direction. So this is a scalar product. But here, for cross product, when two vectors are multiplied, if the resultant is a vector quantity, then we can call it as a cross product. And example, torque is given by R cross F. R cross F. Displacement or the position vector multiplied by force, that gives a torque. This torque is having both magnitude and direction, so the resultant is a vector quantity. Then third property, dot product is commutative, that is vector A dot vector B is equal to vector B dot vector A. It obeys commutative property. But cross product, it is not a commutative because vector A cross vector B is not equal to vector B cross vector A. Or we can write vector A cross vector B equal to minus of vector B cross vector A, because it is having both magnitude and direction. So it is not a commutative property. Then fourth difference, dot product of two parallel vectors is maximum. When we considered two parallel vectors, theta equal to 0 degree, substitute here AB cos 0. AB cos 0 degree. Cos 0 is 1. So 1 means we will get AB. So dot product is said to be maximum when two parallel vectors are multiplied. Similarly, when two parallel vectors are multiplied, here we can get the answer 0 because we can substitute here AB sin theta, AB sin 0 is 0. 0 into anything will be 0. So cross product is minimum for two parallel vectors, but dot product is maximum for two parallel vectors. Then fifth difference, dot product of two perpendicular vectors is minimum here, but here the magnitude of cross product of two perpendicular vector is maximum, because when two perpendicular vectors we consider theta equal to 90 degree cos 90 is 0, so we will get a minimum value. But in cross product, theta equal to 90 degree sin 90 is 1, so we will get the answer AB, it is maximum. Then sixth difference, dot product of a vector with itself is equal to square of its magnitude. A dot A, vector A dot A, that gives A square. When a vector is multiplied by itself, the answer is square of its magnitude. But here, cross product of a vector with itself is equal to 0. When we multiplied two vectors A cross A, B cross B, the result is 0 because of its direction. Then last difference, dot product of unit vectors we already studied. You can remember I cap dot I cap, j dot j, k dot k is equal to 1. But I dot j, j dot k, k dot I is equal to 0. But cross product of unit vectors are different here. I cross j equal to k, j cross k equal to I, k cross I equal to j. When we multiplied the same vectors I cross I, j cross j, k cross k is equal to 0. So these are the some differences between cross product and dot product. So this completes vector part of this chapter. Till now we studied in detail about vector quantity. We studied types of vectors, addition of vectors, subtraction of vectors, multiplication of vectors, laws of vector addition, resolution of vectors. Then also we studied relative velocity, right? So this completes vector part. In the next class, we can learn projectile motion.